Welcome back, everybody, to Strangest Species, episode 7. Can you believe that?
7 already.
I know.
It's awesome.
What kind of shenanigans are we going to get into today?
I have no idea.
That's right, you don't know. Anyways, welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Davis, with your co-host here, my wife, Ethne Davis.
Howdy ho.
Howdy ho.
Back from the home and native land.
Yeah, she just got back from Canada today.
Yep.
So, yeah, you've been busy. A lot of driving.
Lots.
A lot of stuff happening.
But it was a great memorial, so.
Good.
That's good.
All right. Well, we're going to get right into it here since you're tired.
All right. We got
want
this.
to get moving.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Me, personally?
Yep.
Oh, goodness. It's a good question. While I'm thinking, do you have yours already in mind?
Or
you
just because, I wrote all this, so I've had a chance to think.
Okay, maybe share yours while I'm thinking through mine.
So, worst job I've ever had was luckily a very, very, very short-lived job. When we were in college, and I did some temp work in between semesters or something. And I got hired by some guy who did restoration, like house restoration stuff, flood damage. And my job was to crawl under the houses and the crawl spaces and pull out all of the wet insulation. And then there would be like dead animals and lots of just, I'm not a small person. And so that job sucked. So that was probably the worst job, but luckily, like I said, it was just like
you only did it a couple times,
right?
Yeah, just
Not
trying to make any
job.
extra cash.
I sold Aflac for a little while.
Oh yeah, you hated that.
I hated that. I didn't know this at the time, but I hate selling things. Apparently, I'm really bad at it, so that was not good.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I haven't had too many terrible jobs. I think one job I got hired to set up the bleachers for the Calgary Stampede Parade. And I have no idea how I got roped into this, but there's all these random jobs that you just get and they pay pretty well, but you're doing stuff at like 3:00 in the morning. I don't even remember how I got roped into it, but I remember thinking this is not worth it. But I'm like, my paper route was awesome. I don't know.
And you just got the golden life over here.
No, but I mean, each one had its stages. Obviously, like, they're not forever jobs,
right.
Like hostessing at a restaurant is,
I've
good.
never worked any restaurant, fast food or like sit down.
Yeah, no fast food, but just at a restaurant I did.
I cleaned carpets for a while.
Cleaning churches, I remember you did not.
Did not like. But it wasn't so much the physical labor. That was okay. It was
managing the crew.
Yeah, it was the crew and all that.
Yeah,
that was hard.
I'm trying to think it through as far as like little temp jobs or, none I really like. I loved babysitting. I don't know. I guess I'm
well, good.
Lame.
Well, we're going to talk about some jobs today that I don't think you would like. I wouldn't like. But to do so,
who knows? Maybe I'd love them.
Maybe. We're going to go back in time.
Okay.
And you have to bust out your British accent.
Okay.
So we're going to go to...
Darling.
Well, I don't know if we're going to Victoria, England or not, but we're going to England.
Okay.
And the United Kingdom.
Are we talking about chimney sweepers?
Even earlier than that.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know either. And that's the end of the British accents.
Yeah, we can't keep that up the whole time.
Did I ever tell you about what Craig told me the first day of rehearsal?
For your play?
Yeah.
No.
So our daughter does lots of musicals, and I did one with her. I auditioned for one with her, and I got a role with a lot of speaking. Well, not a lot, but some speaking parts in Willy Wonka. And I had to do a British accent. And I was like, oh, that's easy. Like, anyone can do a British accent. And so on the first day that we did rehearsals, like I was doing my British accent for like 2 or 3 minutes, and the director stopped me and he asked me, "Do you know how to do a British accent?" Like, can you do a British accent? And I was like, oh, I thought I was. Like,
You didn't even know you were doing one?
yeah. Or we're so bad that...
Did he know you were trying to do one at least?
I hope not.
Oh, gosh. That's awesome.
But it got better.
It did get better.
It got better. Kind of like in Monty Python.
Kind of.
It's a line from Monty Python.
Okay.
Anywho, so we're going to go back to England. We're going to talk about some terrible jobs that were very commonplace jobs in medieval times.
Medieval times.
Yes.
We're going... Okay.
Going way back. I don't know what that really means, but...
Okay.
So, job number 1 that was super crappy to have. A tanner. Now, are you familiar with what a tanner is?
I think so. Like tanning a hide?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
okay.
make leather.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you know how leather was made back in the day? I don't even know how leather's made now, so...
I mean, you have to skin an animal.
Correct.
And then maybe clean it off and then dehydrate it or something?
Yeah.
No, you have to rub oils or something? I don't actually know.
Yeah, me either. Well, I mean, I know now, but I didn't.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of have the same thought process. Like, oh, you're just making beef jerky out of it. Like, you
No.
skin it, you clean it, you dry it, and magically it's a book.
No, because it would get all brittle. Like you have to, there's...
Yes, it's quite a process.
Yeah, there's more to it. I know that, but I can't tell you exactly.
I don't know how they do it today. But generally speaking, you make leather from animal skins by mixing it with tannin, which is tree bark powder.
Tree bark powder.
But the
How did they figure
process-
this out?
Dude, I thought that exact same thing as I was going through all this. So,
Is it any kind of tree?
probably not.
A certain
Probably
kind of
certain-
tree?
It's very, yeah, I'm sure it's specific.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know.
All
What do
right.
I know. I'm not a tanner.
Yeah, but hence the name tanning. Like
Yeah.
if it's, yeah. Okay, keep going.
I wonder if that's where the color
Oh,
tan
tannin
comes
bomb.
from. Well, that's.
Oh,
I don't think it all
Tannenbaum.
related.
I don't know. That's just what it made me think of.
That's German.
But
It's spelled very differently. Anywho, so leather was immensely important back then. I mean, we're talking, shoes, books, armor,
saddlebags.
saddle stuff. What do you drink water out of? Canteens. Those kind. I mean, they used leather for a ton of things. It was very important, and so the tanner played an important role in society. But he was very, very frowned upon and shunned as a profession.
Why?
Mostly because they were incredibly, incredibly smelly.
Why would tree bark
Well,
powder smell smelly?
I don't think it was the tree bark.
It's the animal skin?
Well, so step 1 is, someone brings you an animal skin.
I feel like there's something to do with pee.
There is a lot to do with
Yes,
pee.
there's something to do with pee. It's like
Yes.
clicking. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like this is coming to me, but I have no idea why.
Yeah, so, Joe down the street brings you his hide off the animal that he's killed. So step 1, it's covered in
Fur
flesh
and
hair
flesh
and all these things, right? So step 1, tanners always lived by, for the most part, rivers or streams. So you'd have to go to your local water supply and wash said hide. So you go out there, you scrub it, and you're trying to get all the little fleshy pieces off. And you probably can't do that right away all the time. So you've probably got, some
stinky.
just stinky, it's hot, whatever.
Ugh, okay.
But yeah, the thing that they needed to do, so they'd wash them, get the chunks off, but then the skins would be soaked in large bins of urine to break down the hairs.
Oh, so to be able to take the hairs out.
Right. And they would leave these in bins of urine for up to 3 months.
Oh, no.
Now,
That's...
remember,
Who decided this?
yeah, when you say who came up with this process, I don't know.
How do you... They were probably just thinking of volatile substances back then.
Well, there is this more chemistry to this, and I don't even want to pretend. I think it's the phosphates or the phosphorus or the phos something that's in the urine that breaks it down.
down the
There's
hairs.
probably other ways you could do it without using urine, but
After this, we need to look up modern
tanning.
Yes, modern day tanning and see how much. And it's funny because tanning and then tanning in a tanning bed is what, first world problems.
Yeah,
We don't
You
know
get
which
nice
one we're
and-
talking about
nice
now.
and golden brown,
Yeah.
urine-soaked leather.
I'm just so curious how they do it now. Okay, so up to 3 months though, like I feel
this
like
is just step
this would
one.
be so rank.
Yeah. So we have 3 little boys.
Oh
You
my
know, like
gosh.
when we go to the river for the weekend and we come home and one of them didn't flush the toilet before we left,
Mhm.
and like it smells so bad.
Yeah, so bad.
And that's just like in an air-conditioned house for a couple days.
And
imagine vats. of
Yeah, and
urine.
this even just the porcelain toilet bowl is all nasty.
Yeah, it's like things growing on it.
Yeah, so 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying already.
So it'd be a pretty horrendous smell. But then they take the skins out of that and they have to wash them with something that's going to neutralize all of that. I'm going to say phosphorus or phosphates. Again, if I'm wrong, whatever. I'm not a genius. So oftentimes what they would use as a wash to neutralize the chemicals of the urine was chicken poop.
Wow. This
Yeah.
just keeps getting. We have chickens too.
We do.
So we know what chicken poop is like as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they would use that mixed with water, and they would neutralize
It's
it.
like a chicken poop paste.
Yeah, it's like toothpaste. I don't know what it's like. But
Well, you said mixed with water, right?
yeah, so they'd make like a slur of some sort.
Who
And
seriously
then
thought of this?
you'd stretch it out and you'd take one of those things and you'd do one of these motions. You can't see what I'm doing listening, but you're kind of shearing off all the hair. And
With what?
I don't know. I've seen pictures. Some kind of tool. So
But
they
are you
stretch
talking about
it-
like a laundry bumpy thing that you rub it up and down?
No, they just stretch it up like a board, and then it's almost looks like a bow.
Oh, okay.
and they
And the
just-
hair just
By this point, the hair
comes
comes
out?
out. Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
Again, if you're actually someone who does leather work, and I'm totally butchering this, I don't care really, but I'm sorry. This is
Just
generally
write into us and clarify anything.
That's right.
Yeah, clarify for us. Okay.
So they would get the hair out, and then the skins would go back into a mixture of urine, water, and now is where you add the tannin. So the tree bark powder.
Why more urine? I mean, isn't the hair all out at this point?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe that's what
Yep.
leatherifies the skin. Does the
Okay.
whole I don't know.
Okay.
But then you leave it sitting in there based on what color you want for how long you want it.
So
So there's
kinda-
different tree barks that are going to do different colors, and then different times gonna.
One like the
It's like dyeing your Easter egg.
in urine.
Yeah,
Okay.
but those could sit in there for up to a year.
Yeah, this is a way too long of a process. Does not sound like good turnover on your investment. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really horrendously smelly job.
Yeah.
And so for this reason, they were always forced to live on the outskirts of town.
Well, yeah. I mean, you would want to have like acres of just urine spread out in
Yeah.
vats.
I mean, I read some stories literally of people who would like come to drop off their hides and like vomit because it was so horrendously bad smelling.
Oh my goodness. Okay. There's got to be better ways for this. I'm going to find out. So,
Yeah. So
okay.
anyways, never had that job.
Okay. I never want that job.
No, but it makes my cleaning carpets sound a little better.
Yeah. Makes any of the jobs I've had better.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready to move on to the next job?
Yep.
Okay. You gotta tell me which one you want more.
Between the two?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the day, let's pick one, all right?
Okay.
Of all of these. Next, we have the treadmill operator.
I'm assuming, are we still back in
Yep.
medieval times? Okay. So a treadmill's not going to be like our modern day treadmill.
Nope.
Is this like, oh, you walk the thing that turns the wheel in the water?
Close. So you walk the thing that turns a thing, but you're on the water. Instead, I think you're at like 500 feet in the air, and you are moving a big giant hamster wheel because you are the one being essentially a human crane to help lift big stones to build cathedrals and churches and castles.
But I don't understand. Don't you have to weigh a lot? Or it's not related that way? Like the weight is all balanced out,
Yeah.
but you're just literally walking to slowly raise said rock.
Right. So they would build these big, essentially hamster wheels on the sides of the scaffolding of like in castles or cathedrals or whatever. And then you have to lift these big heavy rocks. So literally you're like the hamster in the wheel. Which doesn't sound so terrible.
No, it doesn't sound that bad. Except
unless
for you
you're
have to
like
be
me,
afraid of heights.
Really don't like heights.
Are you like strapped in at least?
No, we didn't even strap people in when they built like the Empire State Building.
Okay. Well, how do you qualify for that job? Do they like test to see if you can walk all day, or like
Yeah, I don't know.
you're the one?
You're the one. You're big. They're like, oh, you go.
Oh my gosh.
So obviously, problem one is you're high. You're not strapped in. I don't know how well these things are built or not. Like the wood. If it gets windy, I don't know. If you slip. So people did slip. They would fall. They'd fall hundreds of feet. They would die.
Yeah.
The other problem that you would run into is what happened if the stone slipped, or if you slipped, or if you got tired and the wheel starts moving out of control.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, is there a way to make sure it can't go backwards the other way?
Yeah, I don't know. But a lot of them would get, the wheels weren't completely solid all the way through. So they would end up with, there were many severely mangled limbs.
Oh my gosh.
That would get, stuck in spinning wheels.
Oh, this is terrible.
So,
I still don't know if
I think the
could handle
OSHA risk is less being a tanner.
Sure, but I think I would rather maybe be the treadmill person.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate heights.
I know, but like I have a really keen sense of smell. I think that would just legitimately kill me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to do one of these jobs.
Yeah, and like the process. Like you have a customer that turns something in and like a year later you give it back to them. Like when do they pay you?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh. Or do they pay you per month? Like I want it really dark. So
Maybe they set up a payment plan.
A payment plan, right? I just don't know.
They bring you a bushel of corn every,
But how do you get down from the wheel and up to the wheel?
I assume there's scaffolding.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that would be worse than the actual wheel.
Just climbing
up and getting down.
Oh,
I don't like going down ladders.
Yeah.
Normal ladders are fine.
Okay. All right. So it's like the hamster wheel, the treadmill walker.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Next we have the gong farmer. Gong.
Like the big metal gong thing.
Like that, but not at all that.
I can't even farmer. I can't even pretend to guess. I have no idea.
So gong is a slang term for human waste.
Really?
Yeah.
In medieval England.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
So why do you think there was a farmer for it?
Well, okay. So in medieval times, we're not going to have flushing toilets and septic systems and all that kind of stuff. So I am picturing outhouses, but then again, maybe they weren't even that sophisticated. I just don't know. So you're using human waste as fertilizer, trying to make it somehow. I know that like dogs and human poop aren't really great for fertilization. So I really don't know what you're farming gong for, actually.
So you're on the right path.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So, for years, people would just, take a leak or a dump in a bucket, and when the bucket's full, they just toss it out the window. In the
Literally
streets, whatever.
into the street? Yeah. Okay.
And then they had the whole, Black Plague and lots of other plagues. And they kind of, without any real knowledge of bacteria, they kind of got this general connection of like, oh, more disease happens when it's more filthy.
Yeah, I feel like that's...
So they started having, almost think of it like these big communal, think like a dumpster where you would go dump your bucket of pee-pee and poo-poo.
Okay, so you're literally like walking down the street to the communal dumpster with your bucket of pee and poo?
Yeah.
Oh, this
like
is crazy.
For your kid.
Okay, perfect.
You go dump
Don't
the bucket.
slosh any on your shoes.
Yeah.
Gross.
So somebody needed to clean out these giant cesspits.
Yeah.
So these were gong farmers.
Okay.
Also known as nightmen because they were only allowed to work from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. because one, it stunk. No one wanted to see them doing it. And so
is this like the city is paying them? Like who's paying them to do this job?
Yeah, probably. I don't know if there are cities, but the lord, the lady,
Okay.
My knowledge of anything in England is based on like the couple seasons of Downton Abbey I saw.
Well,
so.
you're way before this anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know what.
No, but I'm
low
just
art is.
thinking like, so these cesspits are in like a community, or I don't know how it works. I'm just trying to picture who is actually your employer for this job, for said job.
I don't know.
Okay.
Who's paying you? And I do realize that we're way before Downton Abbey time.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just picturing like there's still some lord who oversees said village or town or
so then they would employ
noblemen who, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So anyways, they would collect this stuff and then they would carry it out of town and use it for whatever, put it on fields or throw it in the river or, whatever you do with it.
So did they actually find a way to sort of turn it into a useful form of fertilization?
So I don't know if human feces is actually a bad fertilizer or just not a good fertilizer.
Well, I actually think it is bad because...
You're the gardener.
Well, no, because it takes so much longer to break down into something that is useful. So it's like a pile of chicken poop after 6 months, you're great. I mean, it's golden.
You know a lot about poop.
Well, I mean, not a lot. But the poop lady did come to my house when I was a kid, too.
Yeah.
So
That's a good job.
Well, actually, that's a funny job. Yeah. So, anyway, human, to my knowledge, is like years, like to become, as useful or even so. Anyway.
Well, I don't know if they knew that or if they were just throwing it on.
But
or if they were dumping it other places.
I would not want to be a gong
Long
farmer.
story short, they were having to go in at night, take it out to the countryside, dispose of it.
So another stinky job.
Very stinky job. Guess where they lived?
On the outskirts of town?
Next to the Tanners.
Gosh.
Yeah. But it's funny because Tanner became a last name. Gong farmer didn't stick.
Well, Gong is a very common last name in
Not
some
in
places. Not in England, but in some places.
So, obvious,
maybe a slang term, though.
right. There's obvious occupational hazards that come with
Working with feces.
Mm-hmm. Many of these cesspits were very deep.
Oh,
and we're talking like you're up to your neck, swimming around in feces, piling it out.
Couldn't you just like shovel it out first?
Well, they made it sound in my readings almost like it was, think of like an outhouse. I mean, obviously much bigger than that. So like a wooden floor on top of this giant thing. People would dump it in a hole. So you'd have to go down into the caverny, pool of poop underneath. And oftentimes they would hire children to like help them carry the buckets and stuff. So there really was a legit risk of drowning in.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. So honestly, my aunt and uncle have a dairy farm or had a dairy farm when I was growing up, and they had a giant pool of this kind of stuff. I'm not kidding you. And it was like, do not go over there. You can have some serious problem. Like you can drown in it. And to my knowledge, I'm sure they told me what it was for or why it was there. But yeah, it was huge, like a swimming pool size.
That's real gross.
It is really gross. But now I'm wondering
why the farms smell bad.
Well, yeah.
Along with many other reasons.
Yeah, but anyway, I want to like ask my uncle.
You should.
Like, what was that for? So, yeah, it that makes sense.
Yeah. Another problem they would have would be opening pockets of noxious gases.
Oh, sick.
You move it, you hit in the face with this noxious gas.
And
I don't know if it knocks you out or if, whatever.
Sick.
So
so
not a cool job, not a respected job per se. Like you had to live in the outskirts of town. You smelled really bad. You couldn't.
You worked at night.
You worked at night, but they made a ton of money.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So they made about a week's worth of pay every day.
Wow.
Compared to the average.
Well, at least someone acknowledged that it was like...
Yeah, very needed.
Well, that they also... It was disgusting and they need to be paid a lot. Like, at least that was there.
That's what I mean by needed. Like, this is a job that has to get done. No one wants to do it. So we're going to compensate you well for
Well, that's good.
doing it.
I mean, that's really good.
Yeah, now I don't know what you could do with that money because no one wanted to talk to you or see you or.
Well, you still need food and shelter and,
Yeah.
things like that. So
You could hang out with the Tanners.
maybe the
Have a
Tanners
barbecue.
even think that they're above them because I feel like the pee.
I don't know, man.
My brain would be better than the poop.
I don't know, man.
I just don't know, though.
Stagnant piss is like the most disgusting smell ever.
Worse than poop.
I don't know. But
And not only that, it's poop and pee mixed.
This is true.
So you've got
All of it.
oh,
But I feel like pee mixed kind of takes over like the poop smell. Pee by itself is its totally own like ammonia.
yeah, I just don't know. This is disgusting. Why we're having this conversation?
Okay, so I don't know where the treadmill operators lived.
They
Probably
didn't
not
stink.
in the same.
They just
We have our tanners, we have our gong farmers. Our next guy also lived on the outskirts of town with them, but not because he smelled, or maybe actually he did smell, but not because of this particular job. And that was the executioner.
yeah, like the guillotine, like letter goer, or literally like
Well,
the axe. Chop.
Yeah, so the guillotine's in France.
Oh,
So-
excuse me.
It doesn't exist here,
Okay.
and we're probably a little early for the guillotine anyways. I have been listening to a lot of things about revolutionary France. It's pretty fascinating, but different topic. So people didn't like he wasn't a respected figure.
He
Like
was
in-
probably feared, but not
Maybe.
respected.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could be right. I don't know, but it wasn't. I think sometimes in modern cinema and stuff, it's like, oh, the executioner. Like, yeah, he was a bad dude. Everyone, like, oh, here comes the executioner, like a wrestler or something. No, it wasn't a respected job. It also was not a full-time job. It was a very, very part-time gig.
That makes me feel better that we're not just killing people left, right, and center.
Yeah. Capital punishment was actually not nearly as prevalent in medieval times as we think it was.
Interesting.
So oftentimes an executioner would have a whole region that he was over, and he would dish out the execution of that. But again, it wasn't enough, so they would have to work as other jobs. Many of them were gong farmers on the side.
Wow.
So they did stink.
They're double whammy.
Yeah. And if they weren't gong farmers, oftentimes they were knackers.
Knackers.
Yeah. Which we'll get to later.
Is this with the K?
Yeah.
Like
a knacker.
A knacker?
Yeah, like your knickers.
Okay.
The New York Knickerbockers.
I'm so curious what a knacker is.
Yeah. So they were oftentimes knackers
Okay.
or gong farmers when they weren't killing people.
Man, this is quite the array of jobs.
Yeah.
So for all of you out there looking for jobs, I mean, count your blessings that these don't even exist anymore.
No. Well, actually, there are some places in the world where gong farming is still a
thing?
required. Yeah.
Well, that's
There's
cool.
third world countries.
I believe
I
it.
don't know if it's cool, but yeah.
I mean, not cool, but I mean, interesting.
Yes. So the executioner required you to have a lot of Swiss Army knife of skills, a charcuterie of skills, a wide variety of skills.
That was the struggle.
Because different crimes require different modes of execution.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Okay, I'm picturing like, when they want to get an answer out of you and they're interrogating you and then they send in the guy with like, I don't know, the rolled up thing of all these crazy instruments and then like...
You're not a torturer.
Yeah, but that's what it sounds like. Like the executioner has to have like, oh, you're going to kill them by, I don't know, ripping off their fingernails and letting them bleed to death. I mean, I don't know. This sounds so crazy.
Yeah.
So you're going to elaborate, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Oh, yuck.
But you're going way more.
Well, that's just what I'm picturing when you're saying like a charcuterie of skills.
Yes. Do love a good charcuterie board. Fancy woman's lunchable.
Hey, I love me a good
yes, you
charcuterie.
do.
Okay.
So the most prevalent mode of execution was hanging.
Oh, okay. I thought it was beheading, literally.
No.
Okay.
So we'll get to beheading, but beheading was really only for royalty and noblemen or women.
Oh.
The average person did not get beheaded.
So
they just got strung up on the gallows or a tree or whatever.
Okay, gross.
So you had to have good knot skills.
Yeah.
To be an executioner.
Yep.
Because you're good at hanging people.
Are people just desperate for money so they'll take any job, or do you like aspire to be an executioner?
Doesn't sound like you aspire to it. It's
Okay.
pretty low.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
It's right there with the gong farmer as far as prestige.
Yeah, but they got paid a lot.
The gong farmer did. I don't know how the executioner. There are some nice gigs for being an executioner. If you had to kill noblemen, we'll get there.
Okay. All right.
If you were killing a rapist or a murderer,
gross.
First they had to be broken on the wheel, which is like this torture device that breaks your bones. And then they would hang them.
What's the point of hanging them after their bones are broken? Aren't they already dead?
No, they're just in a lot of pain and suffering.
Oh, this is so
you had to have that,
okay.
the wheel skills. You had to be able to operate the wheel and have knot skills for the murders and rapists.
Okay. Who thinks of this stuff?
Now, the heretics and the arsonists and the witches, you had to burn at stakes.
Okay.
So you also had to have good fire skills. Like, can you imagine everyone's watching, you got a witch, and you can't get the fire going. It keeps the wind keeps blowing it out. Like, that would be embarrassing.
That would be embarrassing.
So you have good fire skills. Women, particularly who were adulterers or child murderers, had to be drowned.
Gosh.
So you have good drowning skills. I don't know where you practice that.
You just wing it.
Or if it was a nobleman or royalty, then they got beheaded. So you had to have good axe skills. You had to be strong enough to physically carry, like swing an axe, and accurate enough to hit, hopefully in one shot. But
can you even actually do that in one shot? I mean, maybe it depends on the type of axe you have. Maybe they had really big, heavy duty,
I don't know,
double-sided axes.
Never done it.
Okay, but I'm just thinking of our tree stump that we're trying to get rid of.
Yeah, that thing's a multi-swinger.
Right. But I mean, we have a pretty decent sized axe, and I'm like, I realize it's wood, but I don't think it would be possible anytime to do truly that in one swing.
Yeah, I don't think you could clearly chop off a head in a swing.
Yeah.
But could you lethally?
I have no idea.
The guillotine was actually quite merciful in that.
Yes, it really was. That's what I'm
enough
thinking. Like, the guillotine's actually quite nice, if that is a way.
It's very pleasant. It's like crumpets and tea. And the guillotine.
Okay, this is kind of morbid. Okay, keep going. I don't even want to linger on this one.
But there were a couple perks if you had to behead a nobleman. Most of the time. I don't know if it's just for noblemen, this particular thing, or for anyone you were killing. But the noblemen in particular often would tip you to do a good job so that they wouldn't suffer.
I mean, great.
So there's a little extra money. And you often got to keep the nobleman's fancy clothes. So you were kind of incentivized not to make a bloody mess of everything.
Could you just get them naked first so that their clothes don't get all bloody?
I don't know what the rules are on that.
Okay, this is so insane.
But a lot of times the punishments they had to inflict weren't lethal. So they were also just good, well-adversed, well-skilled in just, severing body parts.
Wait, they weren't lethal?
Right. So sometimes they'd have to dish out punishments that weren't capital punishment. It wasn't a death sentence. It was just like, okay, well,
you stole something, so you get your hand chopped off or whatever.
Or at the beginning of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Except that was in the Crusades. So
who decides this?
I don't know.
I mean, who really? This is the stuff I'm kind of like, is it, gee. Is there documentation on that?
Oh, I'm sure there's tons.
You think so?
Yeah,
okay.
Just Google it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
AI. AI will tell you all.
Oh, yeah.
You could ask AI.
Chat GPT.
Yeah, you could ask it, tell me all about medieval executioners in the style of Jerry Seinfeld. And you'd get the greatest thing ever.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, next job.
That's another podcast, by the way, you guys. If you haven't tuned in before this one, we talk about Chat GPT in another one.
That's right.
So.
All right, the next one, the leech collector.
I mean, that's self-explanatory, right?
You would think so.
Well, they used to do leeching
yeah.
to get people like free of disease, like pull out diseases and stuff from their body.
So medieval doctors were stupid. No, I'm just kidding. They were great. They just didn't know much. But they believed that most diseases were from imbalances in the four humans, whatever that means, which are the four humans: phlegm, black bile, yellow bile, and blood. So obviously, if you get those four in imbalance, you're going to get sick, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, you're like, what? Obviously.
I mean, both of us are very in biology focused.
Yeah, we're both in the
healthcare field. So you're saying any of this stuff, I'm like, what are you even talking about?
Down that road is where you come to bleeding people.
Leeching.
Bleeding.
Well, but
not bleaching. Oh, leeching.
Leeching.
Oh, yes.
Not bleaching.
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yes.
Leeching people.
And
in fact, I think that is in Downton Abbey. I think there is someone, maybe Sybil, who
she dies.
I don't know.
Spoiler alert.
Well, you just did that. I didn't say anything. Yeah. Or is it? Do they do that to her?
I don't remember.
I remember leeching in something. Anyway, so it was practice. Obviously, if it was in medieval times, it actually kept going on for, quite a while.
Totally.
And I remember thinking, this is the most absurd thing ever.
So doctors were smart enough to know not to get their own leeches.
So they had a leech assistant?
So they had poor people. Well, they didn't have poor people. Poor people would just go do it. But how do you get a leech?
And then sell their leeches? Probably go stand in the place that they're living and just let them get stuck to you and then pull them off and throw them in a bag?
Correct. Except that's fairly inefficient. So what they would do is constantly cut themselves. Cut their feet, cut their shins, cut their ankles, and then go stand in the cold water and let the leeches come.
Because the leeches
would come faster if you're already bleeding, because they'd be attracted to it.
Oh, wow. That's so exciting.
And then they would slowly creep out of the water, not to have the leeches fall off, and then pull them off, put them in a jar, sell them. Now, leeches can drink, if I remember right, up to 5 times their body weight in blood. So there were times where people could like pass out or whatever, because they lost enough blood, but I don't really think it happened a lot. I don't think there's a lot of,
death by leeching.
Right. It's just, I'm going to cut myself up all the time to go get leeches. Like, it sounds really terrible.
Yeah, it sounds desperate. But I mean, I guess probably back then you were.
Or actually, that's probably not true. It's probably better to starve to death.
So then they would sell their leeches to the doctors?
Yeah. Remember when we went to SeaWorld?
Mm-hmm.
And those fish that like eat the dead skin off your hands?
Yeah, those were so cool.
So you just stick your hands in these pools of water and these little fish come up and eat all the dead skin off of you, even if you don't think you have dead skin. That's what I envision these leeches be like.
Oh, no, those just tickled. I think leeches would hurt.
I just mean like have them covered on you like
covered all over you. I wanted to stick my feet in so bad. I wanted to just see if, like,
would make good exfoliation.
Yeah, because of me, my barefoot feet in the garden all the time, right?
You in your garden.
But I didn't want to be that weirdo at SeaWorld.
They probably would have yelled at you.
Probably so.
But you probably do have some risk of infection, since we know that the tanners and the gong farmers are throwing all their crap in the river.
But I mean, leeches, I feel like you have to go to a pretty specific type of water.
Yeah, like stagnant, gross water.
Yeah, so I mean,
like in Stand By Me.
Like even if you are going, like they wouldn't be in the river.
No, that's probably true.
Yeah, so you would have to know where to find the leeches.
Yeah, but it still probably wouldn't be very clean water.
No.
Reminds me of Dancing with Wolves.
So that's
when he first gets there, and his water's all like dead animals in it and stuff.
Oh yeah. But like I remember,
great score.
You should watch it again, Mike.
Oh, I listen to that music all the time. I haven't seen the movie since like 8 years old, but
since you cried yourself to sleep.
No, that was White Thing.
Oh, that was White Thing.
I have a strict rule that I will not watch any movie that has a dog in it because I will cry.
Well, White Thing is a wolf.
Schindler's List? Not
Michael,
gonna cry.
it's a wolf.
Whatever.
Yeah, so you can watch that one.
But my goodness, if it has a dog, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna cry.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so leeching. Okay.
Yep.
I just think you have a risk of infection if you're cutting yourself and then trying to get the leeches to stick to you to then gather them. And then you've got this fresh open wound and this disgusting one. I just feel like it's a recipe for disaster. But
All right, we got 3 more to go.
okay, 3 more awesome jobs.
Next one, the groom of the stool. Any ideas?
I mean, is stool meaning poop?
Could be. It's kind of a
There's a
double
theme.
meaning here.
There's a theme going.
There's a lot of poop involved in medieval times.
Well, in all times, but we've just learned how to manage it.
It's true.
So, okay, I don't know. I literally have no clue.
This is actually a pretty swanky, sweet job.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the official butt wiper of the king.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the name again?
The groom of the stool.
The groom of the stool.
Yeah.
I think Oaks thinks he's a king or something.
Dude, that kid. So this is an appointed position. Appointed. So they didn't have toilets, obviously, but the king had a pretty amazing
Outhouse.
well, in-house outhouse, like a box essentially that the groom of the stool was in charge of carrying around for him when he would need it. But we're talking like, super plush cushions and silk and
The groom of the stool carried around the potty.
yeah, the king would be like, bring in, I gotta
But
get
he's
dumped.
not going to just poop in front of everybody.
Dude, we're gonna talk about this at some point. The king and queen did everything, and I mean everything, in front of everybody.
Even
Everything.
what?
There was constantly like 30 people in their room all the time.
Why?
No matter what. I don't know. That's how it worked.
I would hate to be them.
Yeah. So, yeah, he'd bring in the toilet. King would do his thing. I mean, he was probably not in front of everyone when he did the thing. I don't know how it worked. But he would bring in, he was in charge of the toilet.
But the queen had to wipe her own bum?
I don't know of any groomette of the stool. So,
okay.
I don't know.
All right.
So, yeah, he would bring it in. He'd check out everything, make sure it looked good, wipe, and then, send him on his way. But not only that, he would also inspect the stool afterwards. He would monitor the king's diet. He would consult with the king's doctors about the health of the king.
It's like the poop lady that,
Yeah.
like Mavis. Her name was Mavis, and she came to my house. I kid you not. Our whole family with all of their kids talked about what healthy poop looks like.
So Anthony grew up in an extremely holistic family. I grew up in an extremely, whatever the opposite of that is. And that's just, no one's ever looked at my poop before professionally.
It was the most hilarious thing ever.
Well, you had kind of a groom at the stool.
I mean, she didn't wipe our
No.
bums.
So, while not exciting, it actually was a very, very, very prestigious job. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. The king would only appoint somebody who they had high confidence in because it's so intimate. And the person got a lot of one-on-one time with the king. Because as you know, it takes men forever to go to the bathroom. So...
He just sits there while he's...
Yeah, they would talk, about the game, about,
No.
Who's invading Norway.
No. Not happening. That's the worst job ever.
So it became a very trusted position, a ton of one-on-one access with the king, and some of them eventually actually became treasurers of the whole... Now, how you go from poop wiper to treasurer, I don't know. It's not like a real quick connection in my brain, but it happened. So...
You're good with wiping. You're good with money.
That's right. Keep it all clean, man. Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Next one, Pure Finder.
Pure as in
P-U-R-E.
Well, I know that we used to call the clay at the bottom of the lake pure.
Kind of close.
So are they trying to find clay at the bottom of the lake and they're the pure finder?
Kind of. So the tanners, remember them?
Uh-huh.
Smelly people that make leather. So they found there was a really cool way to make book bindings that were a different kind of leather than every other kind. And it was a special way to dry the leather. And you had to use pure. Pure is dog feces.
Oh, I was very wrong. I'd much rather it be the clay at the bottom of the lake.
So pure finders were super poor people who would go around looking for dog poop.
Why does everyone use poop for everything? Okay, so what is this? What is the dog poop doing again?
I don't know how it works.
No, but I mean,
it somehow dries the leather in a special way that makes it more, I guess, better for bookbinding. But I don't know what it's doing.
Okay,
the leather.
This hurts my brain.
Yeah. Some people actually made really good money doing this if they could get contracts with kennels, but there's very few.
Kennels were a thing in medieval times?
Yeah, hunting dogs were a big deal.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
For people who had, money.
Yeah, money.
And food and stuff, which wasn't most people. So yeah, people did that. Some of them I read weren't all like super poor. Some of them are like merchants and other things that they would just kind of do this on the side.
For extra cash?
Yeah, Oh, look, there's a dog taking a dump. We'll pick that up. Make me some money.
Oh my gosh. If only that was a thing nowadays.
I know.
It's
so,
really
last
funny.
one. The Naka. The Kanaka.
The Kanaka? Wait, Knacker?
The Knacker.
The
Just
Knacker. Knacker?
Yeah, like a cracker. But
I literally have no clue, but these are all so bizarre.
So the executioners sometimes were knackers.
Okay.
On the side. So a knacker, also a pretty, they lived on the outskirts of town too, with the tanners and the gong farmers and the executioners. Very, very low social status. Essentially, they collected all dead things, animals, mostly, from roads, farms, city streets.
Like the roadkill picker-uppers.
Pretty much.
Wow.
But there were so many more animals back then.
Yeah.
So if a horse died or a cow died or a goat died or...
Where would they take them?
To their house.
Oh. And then what?
They essentially would just scavenge the body for anything they could. So they would...
Knacker.
Yeah. They'd skin them for leather. They would boil them, get the fat out for candles. They'd extract the gelatin for glue. They'd grind the bones for fertilizer. Essentially, they were just like super poor people that went around looking for roadkill, quote unquote roadkill. I mean,
right.
Dead animals.
I feel like when you lived in Honduras, they needed a knacker during Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah. Well,
because then maybe your foot wouldn't have blown up like a balloon.
There were definitely a lot of dead animals floating around.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, knackers would have had a good day then.
Yeah, or they need to have knackers there.
Yeah, so they would kind of just do.
It seems very resourceful to have a knacker.
Yeah, super resourceful.
I mean, they ground the bones and did all that. I mean, that would take a lot of time. What do you even use to ground like a cow bone? I mean, that's like, I don't even know. My brain just goes down all these tangents of like, how do you even do that job?
I think a moose bone is stronger.
Probably so, but
I'm just kidding. I made that up. I don't know. I don't think moose live over there.
But still, how do you grind those bones? What do you use in your brain right now? Oh, soak them in urine.
You boil them, or you go to your tanner next door neighbor's house.
Just throw everything in urine.
He's not looking. You throw the bones in with the hides.
Oh my gosh, everything breaks down in urine.
Yeah, either take a dump or piss on it. It seems to be the moral of the story.
Yeah, actually, one of our kids was asking me.
Everything?
No, they were saying, was it like a bee sting or like a snake bite or something? They're like,
a jellyfish sting.
I don't know. I don't remember. And they're like, wait, I know you're supposed to pee on it. I don't know if it was really true, but now I wish I could remember. Dang it. You weren't there, obviously, for this question.
But our boys like to pee all the time, all over the place. So.
But not on things like that. But they were like, if you get this, it will actually help make it better. I was like, I don't know why. Where did you guys get that information? I mean, who would even try that?
Apparently anyone in England
or
in medieval times.
Or someone in the wilderness who was thinking,
like in my big fat Greek wedding, like, oh, I'll put Windex on it.
Oh yeah.
Immediately was just like, put some urine on it.
Put some urine on it.
That'll make it better.
I mean, they didn't have Windex back then. It really is one of the only fluids that they probably
didn't even have windows back then.
Exactly. So. That's what I'm saying. So I guess it is very resourceful for what they had, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I actually love my big fat Greek wedding. I love that dad. He's so cute. So cute. Okay.
So, anyways, those are some jobs that are all crappier.
Okay, so if you want me to choose out of all of those, which one I would want?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the hamster wheel one, because I think I could, I don't know, why would it have to be so high off the ground if I'm going to move it up or down? Like, why couldn't I keep my wheel kind of lowish to the ground?
I think physics.
Oh, maybe there's more to it. It's like, I guess if it wasn't so high, it wouldn't, I mean, I'd be nervous that I'd lose like limbs, but I don't know, that other stuff's so gross.
I mean, I would definitely 1,000,000% take the groom of the steel.
You would?
Oh, yeah.
You want to wipe somebody's butt?
Yeah, it's like, what, once or twice a day, and I got a posh life compared to all these other breeds? Would I rather wipe someone's butt or go swimming in everyone else's poop?
Well, no, I never chose that one. But I just think that's so weird. Like, I guess when you, yeah, okay, fine.
I mean, I guess I'm out of the butt wiping stage of life, but just barely.
Yeah, I guess maybe groom of the stool.
I feel like that one should even be like tossed out, like not even a choice.
But you actually have to carry the potty around.
True.
That's a lot of work.
The feces.
And then you have to smell it, and it's sloshing. And no, it's just weird.
Yeah,
it's just weird. I don't know. I'd rather avoid all of those excrements.
Not like being the executioner.
No, that would be terrible.
That'd be bad.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to be a gong farmer. And a knacker doesn't sound terrible. I mean, your house would reek. You just got like bloating dead animals rotting all over the place.
Yeah, and you couldn't do those kind of things fast.
No.
Like you
would literally just have heaps of dead animals as you
so
try to get to it, right?
You know, how do you find out about the dead animal? Like so-and-so has to send a message or like ride their carriage
most
over.
of them just roam around the city.
Like that was their full-time job.
I mean, maybe there were like some farmers or, people who'd be like, oh, call Tom, the knacker. My cow's dead.
Gotcha.
But generally speaking, I think these people were really poor and they were just looking for, like, animals that had died for whatever reason.
Right. To be resourceful and yeah. Okay. Maybe they could sell like the fertilizer from the ground bones.
Right.
Yeah. That's how they made their money.
Right.
They're not actually getting paid to do this.
They're just trying to...
Yes, finding resources to sell to make the money. Interesting.
Gosh. The animals...
None of them are great.
Like, we have so few animals roaming around the world today in comparison.
Right.
Like, our urbanization has definitely drastically limited the amount of animals we see on a day-to-day basis. Knackering would not be a good job right now.
No. I mean, there are essentially still knackers in a much more glorified way.
Yeah. I mean, I went for when you sent me to get that butter last weekend and I had to walk from the boat to the grocery store. I passed a dead deer, a dead squirrel, and a dead snake.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could have knacked all three of those.
I drove right over a dead skunk today and our car stank for like 3 miles afterward. I can't even figure out how.
So there's a lot of knacking possibilities in northern Idaho.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So, anyways, those are some medieval times. I'm very glad that I don't live then or didn't live then.
Yeah. So, I mean...
I'll go clean my carpets or sell Affleck. That sounds way better.
Or set up bleachers in the middle of the night. Yeah. Yeah,
so much better.
You're right. Okay.
So, if you can or if you want, I would love to know other people's worst jobs ever. Like if you email us or go on the Facebook page and just jot down a comment. Worst job. It's definitely not going to be as bad as any of those ones.
Actually, you should try to beat it. Like try to beat medieval jobs and see if we can find a worse one. We should actually look and follow up with that one.
I did have a job in grad school that I worked in a cadaver lab prosecting bodies for the medical students. And we would do lots of different things in there. But the thing I did the most was skin people.
I thought you were going to say that when you said worst jobs, but then I know
that was definitely not a bad job.
Yeah, you actually
did a
great
job.
You actually
did. It was a morbid, weird job.
Yeah. You didn't mind it though. Whereas for me, I think that would be the worst job ever.
You just go in by yourself at like 10 at night after you're done studying, turn on the radio. It's you and like 15 dead bodies. You just go to work.
Are you allowed to be in there alone?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I would That would be my worst job ever if I ever had to do that.
The light in the hallway outside is like
Oh,
flickering
stop it. Just
down in
stop.
the basement.
And it smells like formaldehyde.
Definitely smelled like formaldehyde.
Gross.
Got the shop vac out to clean out.
Nope. Stop. Nobody wants to hear this, Michael.
I don't know who emptied the shop vac. To this day, I don't know what happened to the shop. Someone had to empty the shop vac, but it never me.
Okay, just I thought you were, when I was thinking of what you might say for your worst jobs, I was thinking about that did come to mind, but I know you actually didn't hate it. It's your worst job for me.
Dude, I would much rather skin people, granted who are already dead, than sell Aflac insurance. Any day.
And that's why you're so weird.
I'm one of the strangest.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, everybody. We got to get out of here. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back again next week with another who knows what. I don't even know what yet, but
I never know what.
And Anthony never knows. So go ahead, please share with your friends, tell your friends, leave reviews, good ones, and likes and whatever. I don't know.
And your worst job.
And your worst job, obviously.
That's really important now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we will talk to you all next week. Have a good one. We're out. Thank you.